We always start the day with a cup of coffee. I'd made some caramel sauce yesterday for a recipe. This is what I have left. And I want to add that to my coffee. So good. Hello family. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the kitchen. So today, hot. We're just going to do a day in the life with Grammy. Got my coffee. Hope you have your coffee, hot tea, or whatever beverage you like to drink in the morning. And cheers. So yesterday I made tomato soup that I want to can, and I'm going to can that today. The whole process of the tomato soup will be a different video, and it would include this, but I need to go ahead and get these in the jars. So I decided I wanted to make some yogurt. So in the Instant Pot over there, I put a half gallon of milk with 1 cup of powdered milk and let it come up to a boil. Now we're just going to wait for that to cool down to 110 to 115 degrees. Then we'll add our yogurt starter. Then we'll put it on the yogurt setting for 12 hours. I like mine really, really tangy. So I usually do it for 12 hours. You need to do it somewhere between 8 and 14 to 16 hours, depending on how tangy you like your yogurt. 8 to me is not tangy enough, and 16 is way too tangy. So that's why I do it for about 12 hours. So yesterday, for a future video, I made butter. You'll see that video in October. It's part of the hashtag Bread Making October that we are doing a collaboration with Judy from Girl in the Garden. I made that video yesterday. I needed butter, so we made some butter, and I have some buttermilk left over, and that's the milk left over from making the butter. I decided today I want to make some biscuits. While we're waiting for the yogurt to cool off, we're going to go ahead and make some biscuits. I need to go ahead and fill up my kitchen flour containers. So I have my 5-gallon bucket. Let me just go ahead and fill these up really quick. So I have one of my cast iron pans. I'm going to put this in the oven. Let it start heating up with the oven. The oven is set for 450 degrees. Let's go ahead and get started on our biscuits. We need 8 tablespoons of butter. That would be 1 stick. But I do want to cut them up into little small pieces. Perfect. All right, now we need 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. Let's just mix that in here really well. Now this is buttermilk, a byproduct of making homemade butter. So we got 3/4 cup of buttermilk. Let's go ahead and add our butters. And then we're just going to go in here and smush them just a bit, just so we don't have big clumps. We just want to flatten them out just a bit. Just go in here and give it a good pinch between your fingers. Mix it in with the flour. I just enjoy getting my hands in the flour. I'm old school like that. Just make sure we don't have no huge chunks in here. That's all we're looking for. Okay, I think that is good. Oven is up to temperature with that cast iron skillet. All right, now we're going to add the milk. Stir that in. Don't want to overwork your biscuit dough. We don't need to knead it. We're going to put some flour down on our bench right here. Make sure our hands are well floured. I'm just going to turn it just a bit. We're not going to knead it too much. Going to flatten it out. You can use your rolling pin, but I'm just going to do it by hand and be fine. You can still see the big chunks of butter in there. Oh, yum, 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 yum. All right, now we're going to fold this into thirds. This is where our layers are going to be coming from. A little bit more flour on my surface. And on the dough itself. Oh, that's beautiful. If it's sticky, add flour. If it's not sticky, don't add flour. We're going to fold it into thirds again. Now you can use a pizza cutter and make round biscuits if you like. That's just too tedious for me, so I usually just cut mine with the bench scraper and I just leave them as squares. But do what that works for you. So I'm cutting them in half this way and then in quarters. And the other way I'm going to cut into thirds. So that gives me 12 ginormous biscuits, but that's okay. Should have been a little bit better at dividing that, but that is okay. We have our very, very, very hot cast iron skillet. I want to put about a teaspoon of butter in here. Let that melt. Now we're going to add our biscuits. I think I'll cut these big ones in half. Just should have just gone with my gut and cut them into 16s instead of 12, but cut them however big or however small you want. We can get them all in here. Push them around until you can get all the biscuits in here. Perfect. So this is going to go back in the oven until they're nice and golden brown. This is their homemade freezer meal of French toast. I do have videos of this on the channel. Please go check that out. We're going to go ahead and cook the husband some French toast with some of our pre-cooked sausage links. Perfect. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the oven right next to the biscuits. We'll let those warm for about 10 minutes. We'll turn the French toast and let it cook for an additional 5 minutes. After that, breakfast will be ready. And since this bag didn't actually have food in it, it actually had the French toast that were individually bagged per serving. I'm just going to save this bag for future use. Now we need to check our milk to see if it's ready for the yogurt starter. We want it between 110 to 115 degrees. And it is going over 115. We are at 120. So we got to give this just a few more minutes. Still drinking my coffee. If you've never made homemade caramel sauce, it is so easy. I cannot wait to share that video with you in the month of October for part of the bread making October. So good. So you got to make sure you're subscribed and you hit that notification bell so you know each time we put a video out, because that's going to be a good video. We're at 110 degrees. Let my last yogurt starter die. We had went to North Carolina to visit the kids last month to go camping, and I forgot to put it in the freezer. So I had to buy another yogurt. This is a Food Lion brand vanilla yogurt, because you can't find the small container of plain yogurt, and I didn't want like strawberry or blueberry or any kind of fruit such as that, so I get the vanilla yogurt. That way I can flavor it any way I like. But you want to make sure it has 5 live active cultures in it. Alright, so we're putting this whole 6-ounce can or container in our yogurt. We're going to swish that around. Make sure that milk and that yogurt is very well distributed. We're going to drop the insert right into the base. Put the lid back on. Hit the yogurt setting for 12 hours. 12 hours we'll have yogurt. Canner on the stove is still going. Alright, so we're going to turn the French toast. Make sure the sausage is heating up evenly. Back in the oven for about another 5 to 10 minutes. Biscuits probably got about 5 minutes. Biscuits are done. They are so beautiful. Look at that. Oh, yummy. Just so they can cool off just a bit, and then we're going ahead and have some breakfast with some sausage links and some biscuits. I did turn the oven off. The residual heat in there will keep the French toast and the sausage links warm until the husband comes back from the dentist. I love productive mornings. Coffee helps. So I went ahead and took 2 biscuits and put some butter on there. So good. And the sausage links, if you remember correctly, a couple weeks back when we were doing a grocery haul, Food Lion had it where you buy one, get one free. So we ended up picking up 2 packages. We went ahead and cooked them right then. And then we put them in Ziploc bags per serving. So 3 in most bags. I think 2 had 4, but that's okay. And then we just put them in the freezer. That way when we want sausage or French toast, we just have to get those individual serving baggies out of the freezer, put it on a parchment paper lined baking sheet, put it in the oven at 350 degrees, cook it for 10 minutes, turn the French toast, cook it for an additional 5 to 10 minutes, and then by then your sausage is ready to eat. So sausage and biscuits. And the husband will have French toast. I'm going to go ahead and process a few of these jalapenos I have sitting over here. Some of it turned red, some are still green, some of them are partially red, but it doesn't matter. These are homegrown jalapenos and they're not big. I mean, they're turning red on the vine way too early. I do want to remove the seeds. It's going to be a little time consuming, but that's okay. The seeds is where all the spices are, so if you like really spicy food, leave the seeds in. I like just a little bit, so I always take the seeds out. And I'm just going to dice them up into small little pieces. And I'll go ahead and put this in the freezer bag in the other Ziploc bag that we have with the green peppers and jalapenos in. So now we have maybe 2 servings of jalapenos in here. Perfect. It's time to go ahead and get rid of the tomato plants. So I brought a couple trash bags so we can dispose of those. The plants that are right here on the steps are doing okay. We're going to leave them there. And then if you remember, carrots used to be right here, but the husband wanted to make sure he cut underneath of it, so he moved it out of the way. And we have some cinder block benches over there. We're going to move those over here and utilize that to raise the carrots off of the ground and on a higher plateau. We've got the cinder blocks with the 4x4s. This one is cilantro. The other 6 are carrots. I went ahead and moved my jalapenos on the side. All the tomato plants have been thrown in the trash. I got the tomato cages right there, ready for next year. We are going to be planting garlic in these pots right here. So when it's time to plant garlic, we're going to mend those, give them some more fertilizer, and then we're going to move some more of the cinder blocks over here so that we can elevate our garlic plants. And then next year, when it's time to plant some more tomatoes, we'll have to get some more buckets for those. So the carrots are doing good. So it's been a month and a half since we planted the carrots and they're doing fine. The cilantro is doing really well. And that's where we are so far this season. While I'm out here, I should go ahead and harvest some more oregano. That's the oregano. Go ahead and get some sage also while we're here. And I'm going to go ahead and get some thyme. Alright, now we're going to go in the house. Alright, so the herbs that we put up in the above the sink are dry. So we're going to go ahead and remove those into this bowl. Now the other one. So we have sage and oregano. All right, let's go ahead and get the herbs we just picked ready to go into these bags to dry out. All right, so I have sage. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and remove all the leaves. I find it easier to do it now than to do it after the stems are dry. So that's why I like doing them now. It's not a big harvest, but every little bit counts and it adds up. Sage is going in the bag. All right, we're gonna do the thyme. The memory card ran out of room and I don't know where we stopped at. So I'm doing the thyme and I'm trying to get as much of the stems off of the thyme because I find it tedious but easier to do now than once they're dry. And the oregano. And they'll stay right there until they dry. Now we have some dried herbs. Getting ready to cook dinner and realize my fajita seasoning blend is almost empty. So we're gonna go ahead and make some fajita seasoning to go with some chicken I had taken out of the freezer. It's just 6 ingredients, not counting salt and pepper. But I have a mixing bowl. So I have some chili powder and we need 5.5 tablespoons. Cumin, we need 2 3/4. Paprika, you can either use regular paprika or smoked paprika. I like the smell of the smoked paprika. And we need 2 3/4. Onion powder and garlic powder. We need 1.5 teaspoons of each. Oregano, and we need 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of salt. 1 teaspoon of pepper. We're just going to whisk that to mix all those ingredients together. And I'm going to pour it into my labeled jar for fajita seasoning. And now we have a jar of fajita seasoning. And if you are new to my channel, if you stumbled upon Grammy in the kitchen by accident or by on purpose from a recipe I posted, I just want you to know that I do not buy pre-packaged seasonings. It's not something I'm interested in. I buy ingredients to make my own. All of my spices and all of my herbs come from Azure Standard. When you go to the grocery store, you'll buy the little 2-ounce container of whatever it is. And if you look at the price of that and then compare that to if you bought enough to make a pound, how much that would cost you. Because I buy my herbs and spices from Azure Standard in a pound. Pound of garlic powder, a pound of onion powder, a pound of basil, which is a lot of basil, fills over a gallon-sized jar. But that's the way I buy my spices. And when you buy it in the pound size, it is actually cheaper per unit versus buying the little jars of garlic powder and buying enough of those to equal a pound. I can get a pound from Azure Standard cheaper. So I don't buy taco seasoning, chili seasoning, fajita seasoning, or anything like that. I make my own from ingredients. Let's get started on this chicken. So this is one of our package of chicken that we've got on sale a week ago. Portioned it into freezer bags. Let me get this open, empty the juices, and we'll get started. So I'm just reusing the same bowl we used to make the fajita seasoning. The oven is preheating to 350 degrees. I'm going to put a couple tablespoons right in with this chicken. Try to get all of the chicken coated. I cut the chicken into quarters, so I filleted it and then cut it again. So each breast is cut into quarters, so they're a little bit smaller. So this is going to take between 30 and 45 minutes. And we got fajita season for another day. Now I want to go ahead and make some flour tortillas to go with those fajita chicken. So I'm going to start off with 2 cups of flour, a good pinch of salt, or 2. We'll put a little bit of olive oil, maybe 2 tablespoons. Then we're going to slowly add in water until we can get a dough ball formed. It's time to just go in there with our hands. And so I put just a tad bit too much water, so I'm going to add a little bit of flour. Everything is fixable. And that is it. And we want this to sit here undisturbed, covered with saran wrap for 30 minutes. We want the gluten that we just developed in our dough to relax. So when we go to smash these out with a tortilla press, they'll stay closer to the same size. Let me reset the kitchen, and then by then it'll be time to get these rolled out. So I just got an order from Amazon. Yes, I know it's not ideal. I'm tired of running out of these 3 things constantly in my kitchen. So I bought a box of 1 gallon Ziploc bags, and there's 250 in here. Right there. And they're just 1 gallon Ziploc bags. And this was $38.49. The biggest I can find in the grocery store is an 80 count, and that just doesn't last me long enough. So I'm curious to see how long this box of 250 lasts. So that's one of the items I am constantly running out of. Another thing I am always running out of, and every time I go to the store I feel like I'm buying more and more and more, is parchment paper. This is a 300 square foot. The ones you get at the grocery store is a 50 square foot. This is 300, so it should last me equivalent to 6 of these. And this was only $16.99. The ones I get from the grocery store is maybe $3.50. $3.50 times 6 is 3 times 6 is 18, 19, 20. So that's $21. This was $16.99. So not only is it bigger, it's cheaper. Now this is not the pre-cut parchment paper, it's the roll. It's the unbleached parchment paper. So I'm excited about not constantly running out of parchment paper. And another thing I feel like I'm buying a lot of is the vacuum seal bag. This is an 8-inch, it's the one I prefer because they come in 8 or 11-inch wide. I prefer the 8-inch versus the 11-inch. And it's 150 feet long. And it comes with a slide cutter. Peel the paper off and stick the sticky right here on this white line. Look how big that roll is. That should last me. So I bought this at Walmart a couple months ago. It's 2 rolls and they're 8 inches by 20 feet. So that's 40 feet. This is 150. I'm super excited. And then we just pull what we need, slide the cutter on it, and there we go. Perfect. So there's 3 items I should not be running out anytime soon. The vacuum seal bags was $23.99. We have a gallon size bag that has been cut, top's been cut off. We opened up the side and the bottom, but we left one side together to make a hinge. We're going to put that right here on our tortilla press. We're going to grab about a golf ball size, put it right in the center, fold this over, and I do like to turn it 180 degrees and press it one more time. So I have the cast iron griddle on the stove on a medium low because we want it hot. And right on top of a hot griddle. Rinse and repeat. I have a plate covered with a cloth napkin. And we want to see some charring on it. That is exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to put it on the napkin and then cover them up to keep them warm. Slice them up a little bit. Smells so good. Take a tortilla, put a little bit of chicken on top of that. You can put whatever you like on top of it, but I'm just being lazy today and that's what's for dinner. This chicken would be really good to take to work with you for make a salad. Put some of this chicken on there. Would be so good. All right, let's take a bite. That is really good. And it was so easy to make when we have all the ingredients we need to make a really good homemade fajita mix. It's delicious. So the yogurt's been in the Instant Pot for 8 hours. It still has 4 hours left. We have the tomatoes canned. You'll see that in the next video. We got dinner cooked. We heated up some breakfast for the husband and myself, as well as making biscuits. So I would say this was a very productive day today. If you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up, and while you're at it, please subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. Right over here will be 2 videos. You can go check those out. Get some insight on how I do things in my kitchen, how I hope to inspire you to do things in your kitchen. Don't have to do it step by step exactly like myself, but I hope you get inspired to do homemade cooking with real ingredients to feed your family with nutrient-dense food. Until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family.